Kanda here in Accra, also live on our numerous affiliates across the country, as well as on 3news.com. Coming up this afternoon, National Democratic Congress minority in Parliament and the Ghana Police Service on collision cause over routes for September 5 march seeking to have the Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison resign. The NDC MPs, however, say they will go ahead despite the confusion.
We will not relent. We will not accept it. We are going to go by our original route and we will not allow them to stop us.
This afternoon, we ask if the police is abusing its powers, which requires that it is informed about such protests. Also this afternoon, Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, petitions NLC over Education Minister's directive to withhold their August salaries. Details as the teachers seek an order to compel the minister to halt his actions. Much later, city authorities embark on decongestion of Kokombe area as part of the campaign to clean up the city, but affected traders say they were not given prior notice. And much later, President Akua was expected to address the final day of the BRICS summit being held in Johannesburg, South Africa. We'll get details for you if you stay with us for the next 30 minutes. A pleasure that you could be a part of this afternoon's bulletin. It's streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM927. Same handles on Twitter as well. 3FM927. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta. We're going to begin on the front of education. I know that the police and the NDC MP's coalition cause remains one of the topical subjects matters I'll bring to you this afternoon. But the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana, CTAG, they've petitioned the National Labour Commission, the NLC, over a directive to withhold the salaries of their members. The Education Minister, Dr. Duchum, has through the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission, GTEC, ordered the Controller and Accountant General's Department not to pay the August salaries and allowances of the teachers of the Colleges of Education over their defiance of an NLC directive to call off their sit-down strike. In a petition, however, CTAG is asking the Labour Commission to compel the Education Minister to halt his action till the Commission makes a final determination on the matter. Prince Obinhima is the president of CTAG. He joined us on the telephone lines shortly for a conversation, but this has been a running conversation over the last month, really, in relation to the protest and the decision by the Colleges of Education teachers to continue to be on strike despite the NLC's ruling. They continue to make the argument that what is required of government has not taken place. Hence, they cannot return to the classroom. There are letters expected to be written to the principals of the Colleges of Education. That has not taken place yet. And so it will be unfair on their part to return to the classrooms to continue to teach. Of course, we've been detailing the effect of the industrial action on teaching and learning in the Colleges of Education and the likes. But amongst many things, let me just walk you through the statement which they've issued, which has to do with the concerns they raised. That the right to draw the attention, of course, to the letter by GTEC to the Controller and Accountant General. Now, they say that they submit humbly that their appearance before the Commission last Wednesday, the Commission asked government to submit detailed documentation, indicating compliance with the arbitral award orders to the Commission for onward transmission to them. The union also promised to consult with its structures to consider the appeal to resume work as they wait for the Commission to bring finality to bear on the matter. They have since been on that exercise, and so they are therefore surprised to see the minister, that's the Education Minister's position on this. They'll be glad if the Commission could compel the Honourable Minister to halt his action till the Commission makes a final determination on the matter. And so That's just details of the statement, really. We'll just connect with Prince Obeyhima as well on the telephone line shortly for a conversation to get an understanding as to exactly what it is, their position, which we've provided details of, and why it is the case that they continue to refuse to return to the classroom in relation to this particular matter. But you're listening to the news here on 3FM 92.7. We're streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM 927, same handles on Twitter as well. And amongst many things, we'll be bringing you details of what appears to be that collision cause as well between the NDC minority MPs and then the police. The police also has been raising quite a number of concerns, but amongst many things, we're touching on the coalition of Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. Thomas Amponsa is the acting national secretary of CTAG. He's joined us on the telephone lines for a conversation. Mr. Amponsa, many thanks for speaking to us this afternoon. So we've just cited your letter, if we can describe it as a petition as well, to the NLC raising concerns over the decision to freeze your August salary. The argument out there really is that this is justified. If you've not worked for it, why should you be paid for the month of August?
Hello, please, can you come again?
I'm saying that the verdict out there is that for the month of August, you've been on strike. You've not been working. There's been directives to have you return. And so if the minister decides to save the country some money by freezing your salaries, it's a step in the right direction.
Oh, we don't have any grudge with anybody for the salary. They are the people who pay the salary. So once they say they don't pay us, we don't have any grudge with anybody.
Well, you've petitioned the NLC. There's a statement, there's a letter here actually, which we've been reading to our listeners, which details your concern, because the president in that letter says that you've been engaging members over the decision to have you call off the strike. And so the notice from GTEC to the Controller and Accountant General to have your salaries frozen has come to the coalition as a surprise.
Yes, in other part, the reason why in that letter we are stating that is that the matter is still pending before the LSC. We are all appearing, both parties appearing on the 30th of this month, next week, before the commission will give further directions. So before the commission can come out and even make a pronouncement on whether our strike is legal or illegal, the employer goes ahead to freeze our salary that we didn't work. We don't have any problem with it. We only petition the commission to look at the matter. Well, if the commission says we didn't work, so we don't merit salaries, we don't have any case, but we still fight for what is due us.
And by what is due you, what is really left, which is the grievance, which continues to give you the impetus to be on strike?
Thank you very much. I think the misinformation out there is that government has complied with the LSC's arbitral awards. It is false, completely false. None of the awards, 4 awards, have been implemented. We have the first one. Government has been asked to pay 1 month's salary to all the tutors for compensation for last year, the work that we did throughout the year. They have not been implemented. Government has not done it. 2, they asked government to give us 15 working days leave. They have not done it. It is not done yet. They have not done it. So no implementation yet. The conditions of service, which have effective date of January 2023, has not been implemented.
Right.
There's nothing that has been done about all the awards that the commission gave.
And so for you, government has been unfair. That's why you continue to be on strike.
Very, very unfair. Very, very, very unfair. Instead of tackling the matter, instead of addressing the core issue that brought about the strike, we are now using some kind of intimidatory tactics, because they know our members are vulnerable, because our salary levels are very low when they use salary freeze our members will run to the classroom and then our concerns will not be addressed.
Right,
our
then.
members are now poised to be on the strike until the right things are done.
Mr. Amponsa, many thanks for speaking to us. That's Thomas Amponsa, is the acting secretary or the national secretary of the coalition of the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana. They're speaking to us. We're taking you to the Ashanti region because reports indicates that large quantities of onions locked up at Ghana's borders to the north as a result of the border closure by ECOWAS member states have begun to rot. Several truckloads of onions from Niger have been stranded due to the enforcement of the economic sanctions, and the Ghanaian traders are not only counting their losses as a result but are facing terrorist attacks. Ibrahim Abubakar, he's been following up on that, visited the onion market. Ibrahim, provide details for us as to exactly what these traders have been telling you.
Well, Mawuena, for now, most of them are down-spirited because they've lost huge investments. In fact, I saw truckloads of onion that have been rushed and they've been brought to the Kwadaso market, and they said they were on the border for several days. So now what they have to do is that some of them even have to use Nigeria through to Benin, Togo, and enter Ghana, even though it's illegal. But that route is a bit safer than using the Burkina Faso route because we have these terrorists there, the jihadists, who also constantly attack them and also burn some of their trucks. In fact, I've seen videos that they've shown me 3 trucks loaded with onions that have been burnt beyond repair by these terrorists. So most of them are still living in fear and they are frustrated. They don't know when this will end for them to get back on their feet. And now the India is believing that because the onions are not coming into the country in their large quantities, we have few of them within the area. So now the prices are even shooting up, and they fear that by the next weeks or months, if things do not change, then we may even be buying bags of onions for way beyond 1,000, 2,000 Ghana cedis thereabouts.
Right, Sen Ibrahim, many thanks for those updates. That's Ibrahim Abubakar, my colleague in the Ashanti region, following up with the market women. We're returning to our top story this afternoon, where the minority in Parliament and the Ghana Police Service are on a collision course over the route for a planned protest against the central bank governor. The NDC MPs have set September 5 to march through some streets of the capital to push for the resignation of the central bank governor, Dr. Ernest Addison. The plan, however, to move from the frontage of Parliament House through the Osu Cemetery traffic light to the Ministry of Finance, then to the High Court complex, Kimbu, Makola, Rollins Park, Opera Square, and then to the Bank of Ghana is being rejected by the Ghana Police Service, who say no agreement has been reached as intelligence operations suggest that there could be disruptions to public order. But the Boku Central MP Mahama Yariga says they cannot be stopped.
Has a greater potential to obstruct traffic. We want to start from Parliament House to the Bank of Ghana. We are asking us to go and start from Circle to Independence Square. Who is encouraging who to obstruct traffic and create problems in the city?
But Mr. Yariga, unless of course you don't believe that the central bank is a security zone, why should there be a difficulty if the police says that, theirs is to ensure that there is peace and sanity prevails during your demonstration. So if they say that the Bank of Ghana premises is a national security zone, what is your difficulty with that?
We told them that the city house that they wanted us to march and pass is also a central bank facility. So the central bank is a security zone, and the city house is also a security zone. And they were the ones who were offering us to march past city house. So we thought that their arguments contradicted one another. So you can't be saying that we should avoid central bank installation and yet be saying that we could march through city house, which is a house with a lot of central bank workers. So that was our argument. And then we told them again that for security installation, the office of the president, I believe, is the most serious security installation. But
with the police to arrive at a common decision. With all that's going on, do you suspect the police is out to frustrate you?
It's obvious. It's obvious that they want to frustrate us, but we will not relent. We will not accept it. We are going to go by our original route, and we will not allow them to stop us.
That's Boko Central MP Mahama Yariga. Well, the latest development resurrects the conversation on the Public Order Act and what has almost become a running battle between protesters and the police in agreeing route for a demonstration or a march. Exactly what does the law say, and can the police be insisting on new routes for a protest? Martin Kwebu is a private legal practitioner. Let's get a bit more education from him. Mr. Kwebu, many thanks for speaking to us and for your patience for holding the line as well. The Public Order Act is explicit in its provisions, yet there appears to be these recurring disagreements on routes for protests or marches in the capital more often than not. How is it that we almost are coming back to similar confusion every time there's a protest?
Well, so that tells you that naturally it's difficult to tell in advance all the possible places that will be considered a security zone. Yes, that's the way I see it. Because you see, the lawmaker had indicated some specific buildings as a security zone. What would have been faced with is that would have seen more and more public buildings being designated as a security zone by the police. So it tells you that basically what the law expects us to do is to be reasonable. That's on the part, or when we say reasonable, it's not an insult to anybody. In law, what it means is that to be reasonable means when you're coming to take a decision, take certain factors into consideration. Okay, so that's what the law expects of both the police and the protesters. So it's not surprising. I mean, in the not too distant past, to the extent that the Occupy Flagstaff House were able to go to the Jubilee House and got very close to the frontage and presented their petition. Any other argument by the police that a certain building is a security zone and the rest looks very weak, because once the Occupy Ghana protesters were allowed to go to Jubilee House, these arguments about security zones subsequently are not strong. They are not strong. The police can give protection if they want to. Anywhere, the police can give protection.
Then from that, it lends credence to the concluding statement of Mahama Yariga that they are being frustrated, and the argument out there really that sometimes the police is used to douse the flame of some of these protests, because if you're intending to, for instance, end up at the Bank of Ghana and power pressure on an individual there to resign, and the police is asking you to end up at the Independence Square, some make the argument that the impact of the entire march or the protest would have been defeated.
Absolutely. That's the point. It's very unassailable. So the police should look at it. Like I said, in the law, yes, there is the discretion. We know there's also a huge element of security. So they should look at it and strike a balance. So straight away, what I can see, the balance for me now is that, look, the police can say that, okay, in the circumstance of the case, we will not let you get very close to the Bank of Ghana building. So maybe we'll give a 100-meter buffer, or maybe 50 meters, somewhere, but allow them to go close. Allow them, to see the building so that the cameras can, capture the Bank of Ghana building and capture the demonstrators within one different footage. Yes, that gives you the impact. Let them see the building. This is where the governor is, and this is where we are riling that the governor should have done something better. I think the police can do it. There are ways to be done. As I said, apart from the 50-meter or maximum 100-meter buffer, then there will be further things like, okay, even to present a petition, it will be the leadership that will come close. So demonstrators maybe will be asked to stay maybe 150 meters away, and there will be policemen. If the police want to do it, there's a way it can be done. I think the police should do it, because, look, it's not only the minority, the NDC people who are feeling the economic hardship. We are all feeling it. Look, you buy 3 oranges for 5 cedis. 3 Mawuena, 3 oranges for 5 cedis. Why? 3.
Right.
3. 1, 2, 3. For 5 cities. So one orange is more than one. This one, what do you call it? 1 city, 50 pesos. Why? Why on earth? Because the governor contributed to it by giving the government too much money. That's what we call in banking terms printing of money. It's not every time that it's fiscal printing. And when government lends too much to the when the central bank lends too much to government, in fact, it's called printing of money. It's no way physical printing. Sometimes it's quantitative easing. You lend too much. That's what Bank of Ghana did, and now we are all suffering. Meanwhile, it's Akua and his family who are enjoying, and the rest of us are suffering. About 3 million Ghanaians are poor. They live below 24 Ghana cedis a day.
Right then.
Yes.
Mr. Pebu, I appreciate that you could provide the education for us. That's Martin Pebu. He's a private legal practitioner, one who provides quite a lot of education on some of these matters for you and I to make meaning of. It's a subject matter that we will continue to follow, even as the police says they're expectant of the NDC minority returning with a new route. We'll follow that and bring you details. But on other matters now, in the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and the Ablekuma North Municipal Assembly have teamed up to decongest the spare parts base at Kokompe here in Accra. This is in response to a directive from the Greater Accra Regional Minister for city authorities to decongest business areas in the city. Many cars left on the road were towed away and items left on pavement, including engines, seized. Affected traders say they had no idea the exercise was to take place. Here's the Secretary of the Kokombe Spare Parts Dealers Association, Ebenezer Sasu.
So it's affecting us because formerly cars were moving up and down, but now because of the demarcations and the other person, they were using their land as road. But after the demarcation, then he saw that the road is inside his land. He also has constructed a wall, and now the church is inside the road. Yeah.
But Municipal Works Engineer for Ablekuma North Municipal Assembly Engineer Wasare says the traders were warned prior to the exercise, but were adamant.
Here is to ensure that sanity prevails. So those who have their wares, those who have displayed their wares on the pedestrians walkway and then repairing of vehicles on the carriageway is being discouraged. We are stopping them. So in short, we want the traders here to apply themselves diligently so that other road users can have their peace of mind using the road. Both assemblies, that's Ablekuma North Municipal Assembly and Accra Metropolitan Assembly, we have a comprehensive plan on paper or that we are rolling out. Now there's this situation of sustainability. So what we have done is always there will be city gas here with their clamps. So the moment you decide to take the law into your own hands by doing business on the carriageway, your vehicle will be clamped. Because what is happening is is no good at all. Because you can have a whole car being repaired.
So that's the engineer for the Ablekuma North Assembly area there speaking to my colleague Richard Bright Ado, Engineer Iwasare there. But we're taking you out of Ghana and straight to South Africa now, because President Akua is expected to make a statement today, which is the third and last day of the 15th Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa summit. That's a BRICS summit currently ongoing in Johannesburg, South Africa. It is not clear whether Ghana will join the alliance, which is just agreed on an expansion considering its trade relations with major BRICS countries. My colleague Judith Tando, she's joined us live from there with a bit more update as to exactly what it is that's transpiring. So Judith, many thanks. First on the expansion, do we know the countries have been added to BRICS yet? And the main question on the minds of Ghanaians and the rest of the world is whether Nigeria is a part of it.
Well, we know now that new members of the expanded BRICS are Argentina, Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. And these countries, per calculation, will, along with BRICS countries, contribute 30.5% of the global gross domestic product. Now, these countries are among the first countries to apply to join BRICS. So we're yet to see when others, including Nigeria, would be added as well.
Well, just finally, talk to us on the expectations ahead of the president's address today.
Now, with the case of Ghana, we might be in a difficult position concerning our dealings with the West, as well as trade relations with countries like China, India, etc. Now, we know that China is a very strategic partner to the Ghanaian economy, with over a third of Ghana's external debt amounting to about $1.7 billion owed China. Now, if you recollect, the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, in March really struggled with his discussions with some of these Chinese officials on a proposed debt restructuring. And so basically China has a big say in the future of the Ghanaian economy. So we're yet to see what President Akua will say, and we'll see whether he will leverage on their diplomatic ties to get to Xi Jinping himself, that's the Chinese president, who is here currently at the BRICS conference.
Judith Ochitendo from South Africa, Johannesburg to be specific, and we're moving on to other conversations while you're listening to the news here on 3FM 92.7, and to tariffs and the increases which has been which is expected really come September 1, and the recent 4.2 hike in electricity tariffs for non-lifeline residential customers has come under scrutiny, with the former director of public relations and external affairs at the PURC calling the commission's stated reasons untenable. Nanaya Janto was the general secretary of the CPP and former director at the PURC, says that the government should consider subsidizing utility costs.
Given are not very tenable, to the fact that if you use the exchange rate and if you use the price of the weighted average cost of gas, it doesn't really make sense, especially the exchange rate. And government should be able to also pay a subsidy. I remember in 2010, the PURC increased tariffs at the time. And His Excellency Atamil said that he will pay a subsidy, even though the IMF said that no subsidy. So we believe that government should be able to shore up consumers. With the DDEP and people losing their money and losing their jobs and no jobs, how do they pay the electricity?
How does government subsidize this in the face of the current economic challenges we're in and government itself needing money?
Government said it's going to war. Do they need money? They are going to Niger. Is it not money they are going to use? So that money that they want to expend on a senseless war, they should rather use it to subsidize electricity consumers. Government should be able to prioritize what they want to do for Ghanaians. It is essential. There should be some form of talks with the IMF that for this one I'm prepared to subsidize. So government is thinking about themselves, that they don't have money. What about if government doesn't have money? What about the consumers? What about Ghanaians?
That's the Nanaya Jantwa. She is General Secretary of the CPP and former Director and External Affairs Communications at the Public Utility Regulatory Commission. To corruption and corruption-related conversations now, because anti-graft campaigner Vitus Azim has called for other independent bodies such as the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice Shraj to investigate the Cecilia Dapar case. 8 persons have so far been charged with counts of stealing and conspiracy to steal for the alleged involvement in the missing $1 million and other sums from the home of the former sanitation minister, though the office of the special prosecutor has taken over aspects of the case for possible corruption and corruption-related offences. Former executive director for the Ghana Integrity Initiative, Vitus Azim, says other bodies should also investigate the matter. He's been speaking to 3FM on the sidelines of his book launch.
He's not doing anything physical. There's nothing on the ground. He's even worse by sort of always trying to exonerate some of his appointees from allegations that he has not even investigated. He doesn't want to even... I mean, best as a president is to call the president and find out what has happened. If there's a need to set up a committee to investigate. But it's always about the first person to come and clear the president, and that's why it's called a clearinghouse. So as for the president, I don't think he's interested in fighting corruption, apart from using it for political gain. You need to be able to investigate and sanction people that are guilty. Make it very scary for people to engage in corruption. You see, when Madam Cecilia, the past thing came out, I said that Chirac should go after her to ask for her asset declaration. Financial Intelligence Center should go after her to find out the source of money and all that. Office of Special Police has taken it, but the others are keeping quiet. I think you need an asset declaration when you are coming to office so that we know your worth. Then after you have left, when you are leaving again, you declare your assets so that we know the difference between what you had and the time you left. But even that, there's still a weakness with the law. When you come in, you are sworn and you start 6 months before you are compelled to declare. And you can use 6 months to make a lot of money, stolen money. So that is my concern about that.
That's Vitus Azim. He is an anti-graft campaigner speaking there, ending this afternoon's edition of the news here on 3FM 92.7. As always, a lot more news if you log on to 3news.com. And Mensah Brampas here, ready and waiting with the very latest from the world of business. I am Eric Mawuena Egbeta.
Very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us on Business Daily this afternoon. Coming up, government reaffirms commitment regarding DDEP payment obligations as it directs for the settlement of initial coupon payment of 2.4 billion cedis. We have the details of this and more in the next few minutes. Please do stay with us. Let's settle for the details now, as the first coupon due bondholders who participated in the domestic debt exchange program has been settled by government. This revelation was made in a statement by the Finance Ministry on August 23, indicating government's commitment to honor its obligations. Under the terms and conditions of the domestic debt exchange program, the very first coupons of the tendered bonds were due on August 22. On the due dates, government settled fully the coupon due in the amount of about 2.4 billion Ghana cedis. Government, through the Ministry of Finance, has reaffirmed its commitment to success of the new bonds issued and a credible and strong domestic securities trading market necessary for recovery of the Ghanaian economy. Now, economist Dr. Idu Susakode is calling for the review of tax exemptions granted businesses in the country. According to him, the total exemptions form about 1.5% of the country's GDP. He believes this is enough to fund government's much touted free senior high school program if collected.
With this current expenditure of free SHS, the 12 billion can finance free SHS for 3 years. So 1 year revenue from the property rate can finance free SHS for 3 years. That's how sustainable it can be. The tax exemptions is costing this country between 1% to 2% of GDP. Tax exemptions, those who do not pay tax, those who enjoy tax rebates. Per my estimation, 1.5% of today's GDP will be 9.6 billion Ghana cedis. 9.6 billion Ghana. That's more than 3 times the expenditure of free SHS. So if you need money, go and review the tax exemptions and then get some money from there. And this one, I'm even being generous because it can go as high as 12 billion, the tax exemptions.
Dr. Edu Osusakode is an economist with the University of Ghana. Experts at the first West African Marine Science Symposium have called for sustainable exploitation of marine resources for economic development. They noted fish catch and tourism along the West African coastline contribute 57% GDP of the sub-region in terms of imports and exports.
With the discovery of rare minerals in the ocean bed and their exploitation, calls have heightened for sustainable use of marine resources. Experts at the West Africa Marine Science Symposium in Accra are of the view conservation and protection of marine resources are crucial for economic development. They say safeguarding communities that depend on the ocean for incomes and livelihood must be a priority.
In Africa, fish probably constitute about 60% of our protein consumption. We need to work effectively to be able to make sure that our fisheries are in good health. We have enough fish to be able to feed the growing population, but also this is also a sector that creates a lot of jobs. So if we have a healthy ocean, then it means that what? We're going to be able to what? Produce a lot of fish. The ocean is the main transport routes for most of the imports, the goods that, we get.
Pollution of the ocean is negatively affecting fish catch as well as providing health challenges.
We need to reach out to policymakers. We need to reach out to industrialists and let them know that, there's what we call ocean literacy. Educate them about the ocean, that the ocean has a lot of valuable resources. Besides fisheries, we have minerals, we have ocean mining for solid mineral mining, we have marine transportation, we have ecotourism. These are benefits we derive from the ocean.
According to the Western Indian Ocean Marine Science Association, in 2025, there will be more plastics in the sea than fish.
Well, that is quite worrying there per the reports we just listened to. But let's move away from that. And the government has charged the Chartered Institute of Taxation Ghana to come out with policies to help the country rope in the over 90% of population that are not within the tax net. Speaking at the 11th Annual International Tax Conference held in Accra, on behalf of the President, Senior Presidential Advisor Yao Osafo-Maafo noted that addressing this challenge could go a long way to improve the country's revenue position.
We in Ghana cannot continue to allow less than 10%, specifically 7.8%. That is 2.4 million people of the population carry the direct tax burden of 31 million. Only 7.8% of the population do the payment of the taxes or the direct taxes. Is certainly too low. And I challenge the Chartered Institute of Taxation, Ghana, CITG, to come up with relevant policies and make the necessary proposals to government for consideration to assist in this endeavor. You are professionals, you have the ability, you understand the subject matter. Please assist us to overcome this lacuna.
And that was Yao Osafo-Maafo, Senior Presidential Advisor. They're ending it for the business news. When you log on to 3news.com, we have more business news updates. Black Rasta will join us right after I leave this seat. My name is Nana